And I know people really appreciate you coming on a show and directly addressing our audience. But as someone who has lived inside of politics, which I have, I know that sometimes it's not advisable for primary opponents to engage in public forums, because then the unopposed Democrat in this specific case can easily use audio or video from that event against the winner later, and that can get really ugly. But as someone who has lived outside of politics as well, as someone who's been part of the Tea Party, I know that people want a chance to ask the tough questions in a public format. And so, as someone who also has been a candidate before, I remember being advised to say no to public debates here or there, and I was always frustrated as a candidate that it always seemed unadvisable to go into a general having participated in a primary debate. Even when I was strongly advised not to, I wanted to. Would you talk to my listeners about that?
Well, this should be a time of sharing what you're for. People are really engaged in these issues. I've been spending the last 15 months talking about and taking very specific positions on these federal issues, and they're diametrically opposed to Robin Carnahan, who's going to be the Democrat nominee. At the same time, their side spent almost $2 million attacking me because I'm opposed to cap and trade, or because I fought the health care bill. And in terms of scheduling is what it is. You know, if you make a commitment to be everywhere in the state, that takes a lot of time to figure out how to do that. In fact, 10 days ago, I did my 507th campaign event in Missouri, in the last of Missouri's 114 counties that I hadn't been to. And so I know when you're putting together an event, it is the most important thing in the world as far as you're concerned. But if you don't tell somebody about it until 10 days or 2 weeks beforehand, sometimes it's very hard to make that work based on all the other commitments that you're making. And I'm listening and talking, trying to listen to Missourians, trying to be sure that Missourians understand what's at stake. 2010 is so much more important than 2008. 2008 was the presidential election like almost every other presidential election we've had since World War II, when after 2 terms, with one exception, 1 or 2 terms in 60 years, and Americans are ready to try another political party. The only exception was Reagan, and the first President Bush. 2010, we now know what the change is, and this is an election about either verifying that change, saying, yes, that is the direction we want to go, or no, it's not. Gina, I'm going to run out and vote for just a second. I'll be back in...
You go right ahead. We'll go to break.